The School of Shamanism, Master Tatankananda, returning to the earth a person at a time. Hello, this is Master Tatankananda, and thank you for stopping by. Please don't be put off by my name, Master Tatankananda. I earned that moniker, I earned that name when I was studying with the Hopi and the Navajo, studying shamanism and indigenous religions. The word Tatanka is the native word for buffalo, and Nanda means one who learns, which is a Hindu derivative from Hindi. So who is Master Tatankananda? Well, I have been given the name of the Master of the Buffalo Who Knows, which is a title that I received when I was granted the title of shaman due to my training, not only in the southwest of the United States, but also in Hawaii. So Master Tatankananda, most people call me Master T, because Tatankananda is a mouthful. Who am I? Who will you be listening to on this podcast and this website? Well, I, like most shamans, had a difficult birth. Most shamans either have a difficult birth or they have a crisis of life in their younger years. Mine happened to be at my birth. I was born in such a way that I was dangling on the edge of life and death for a long time. But obviously I recovered and came through my birthing process and lived a fairly normal life, except that I always saw the world a little bit differently, and sometimes a lot differently than the people that I was around. I was highly influenced by Christianity, Protestant Christianity. My family was involved in Protestant Christianity, and so of course I was introduced to that through Bible schools, Sunday school, and other influences. Over the years, I was very interested in why I could see differently and why I was able to discern voice imprints and get flashes and images of what other people were thinking and doing when that didn't seem to be the life truth for many of the people that I knew. And at first I talked about it, but I was soon told to be quiet about these things because if indeed I was able to do this sort of thing, it was surely from the devil. And so I began to study Christianity since it seemed to be my only option. And I did go to a Christian school, a Christian college, and then I decided to become a Christian minister. Because I've always had a spiritual turn, I've always been interested in those things which we cannot see in the basic meaning of life. And so, since I had been exposed to Christianity, I began to follow Christianity, as most people do in their religious milieu. It's hard to find somebody who was raised in India who is not somehow connected to Hinduism or Islam because it's what they've been exposed to. All the while that I was a Christian minister, I was seeking for truth at the same time. And I realized that by participating in Christianity, I was participating in a group that was taking the Bible as the Word of God. Now, it would be nice if God had talked to me. However, that didn't happen. I was told that God speaks to human beings through a mediated way, namely the so-called Holy Scriptures. And it dawned on me one day it just hit me like a lightning bolt, that I was basing my life and my worldview on hearsay. 2,000 years ago, some people claimed to see and do some things, wrote it down, and I was taking it as fact. I was taking hearsay as the Word of God, and I began to really question the revealed religions because of that. Now, what do I mean by a revealed religion? A revealed religion is one that is based on a book or series of books. For instance, the Old Testament is the revealed religion part of Judaism. The Old and New Testaments put together are the revealed parts of Christianity, and the book of the Mormon, and the book of the Muslim reality, or how they construct it, is the Holy Quran. Now, as I was looking at this hearsay, I began to realize I was taking a lot for granted. I was taking it for granted because of the culture that I was exposed to all my life. I was taking it for granted that there was such a thing as God, that there was such a thing as a prime mover, as a beginning point. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And so, along with the Jews and the Islamics and the other Christians, I took that for granted that there was a God. Now, had I not been exposed to the revealed religions, I don't think I would have immediately come to a conclusion that there must be a God, because I have never met the God, never talked to the God, heard a lot about the God through the hearsay documents, the revealed religions, studied what they had to say, learned the languages so I could understand what they say, Greek and Hebrew, but at the same time, it was still mediated. It was still hearsay. I was taking the word of someone else. I also took for granted that there was a need for salvation, that there was sin in the world, and this sin was God's disapproval. God had great disapproval for this sin, a sin being any act, thought, or deed that would somehow displease the God, and that this sin was grievous, even resulting in, if it wasn't removed away, a person would spend the afterlife in hell. But I took that for granted, that there was a need for salvation, because this is what was in the revealed hearsay documents, that not only were human beings filled with sin, but the whole world had fallen from God's grace. The birds, the trees, the squirrels, everything had fallen from God's good graces because Adam and Eve had sinned. And then I took for granted that it was God that would provide the salvation, either by the work of his son Jesus on the cross or by my good deeds. It's the same way in all revealed religions. You make the God happy through sacrifices and good behavior. That's true for Judaism, that's true for Islam, and it's true for Christianity, that the God must be pleased by what you believe and how you act in order to justify your sin. I also took for granted, while I was thinking about all of this, that it's all based on hearsay. I can't tell you how important this is to understand, that we believe as Christian people and Judaism and Jews and Judaism and also Islam, that there is a God who is angry about sin and wants his people, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, he wants his people to right the wrongs of the sin. Now notice the God never does it for himself or herself, but instead works through the means of jihadists, through Christian crusaders, and through Jewish resistance to the persecution that they've experienced over the millennia. It dawned on me that all of this was hearsay. I had heard of the God, but I hadn't seen the God. And so people fight over the revealed religions. They fight amongst each other because their hearsay is different. Their magical friend in the sky is different. None of them have seen him or her, him in particular, but they believe that their God is better than the other gods, hence bringing on religious wars and great sorrow. All because of hearsay, all because of a book or series of books filled with hearsay. Jesus said in one place, "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe." Well, that's very convenient, isn't it? It's very convenient to say, you're better if you believe when you haven't seen than if you have seen. Well, that doesn't make any sense. But in the revealed religions, you have to take things on faith. You have to take things you've never seen, you've never experienced, and then pretend that they're real and take it as the Word of God. The Word of God. You know, God isn't doing it himself. No, he somehow mediates through people who then write about it, and it's put between leather covers and called holy, and everyone then snaps to believe that this is the true revelation of the God. I could not find a spirituality that did not have a hearsay God. I looked and looked and looked, and almost all the spiritualities have some sort of hearsay God or goddess. It's almost like the human race is possessed with the idea that there must be a God, there must be a goddess. Until I ran into Buddhism, and Buddhism opened my eyes to the idea that we might be in a closed system, that we might be in an earth-based system where there isn't necessarily a God at all. And once I studied Buddhism for a while and began to see that I didn't have to rely on revealed religion, which Buddhism does not. Buddhism relies on direct experience. What have you experienced? How have you experienced? Are you suffering? Can you rid yourself of that suffering? But the main thing that happened with me in Buddhism was to understand that there could be a spirituality and a morality without a God breathing down your neck. And then I ran into the native earth-based spirituality, and they offered a different perspective for me, that the earth itself is a living, breathing God, if you want to say that, a living, breathing system. This is the idea of the Navajo, the Hopi, and the Hawaiian Kahunas. The idea is that the earth is a living, breathing mother who gives birth to everything. And the sun being a sort of father that brings down sunlight, warmth, etc., every single day. So if you weren't exposed to the revealed religions that tell you about a mean, ferocious God of the desert that wants his way, or else he'll destroy the entire human race, unless you have this exposure to this horrid desert God who suddenly turns nice in the person of Jesus, unless you have that revealed religion pressed on you, it is quite certain you would never come up with something like the Trinity. You would never come up with something that required blood, blood, blood. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. And we're going to talk more about that here at this website. Earth is reality, and we all perceive it differently through our senses. But Earth, why can't Earth be reality? A closed system of reality. So that's who I am. I'm a person who's been on a very long trip to discover what my world means, why I'm able to do the things I am, to understand how I'm in completely different from the revealed religions. I have evolved from being a Christian minister to being a pagan person, meaning one on the outside. I'm outside the revealed religions. One of the things that I have taken on as my great task in life is to let people know they do not have to be bound to the revealed religions. The revealed religions have nothing to do with the earth, nothing to do with the spiritualities that connect to the earth, but instead create an otherworldly beast of a God who is demanding, mean, punishing, fickle. All of these are contained in the Old and New Testaments and also in the Quran. So revealed religions are not our friends. If we had never been exposed to it, we would have never cooked it up. And so I have followed shamanism now and developed my abilities within the earth-based spirituality and connecting with the energies of the universe. So that's who I am. And I don't want you to make a mistake. I don't want you to make a mistake. I don't judge people who are tangled up in the revealed religions, because it's really not their fault. They were exposed to it, they experienced it, and it's really not their fault that they're caught up in it. However, once you can see that it's all hearsay and match it against your own experience, it makes a world of difference. And I am totally involved in letting people see that there's another way other than the heaven, hell, paradise with virgins, or hell forever, or just the place of the dead, that there's another spirituality that's much older, much more honest, and doesn't look to the heavens for answers, but instead looks to ourselves, inside ourselves, as part of a wonderful system that we call Mother Earth. So welcome. I am Master Tatankananda, and welcome to the School of Shamanism. I hope you enjoy everything on this site. If you're listening to the podcast, the website is www.theschoolofshamanism.com, and I am Master Tatankananda. The School of Shamanism, Master Tatankananda, returning to the earth a person at a time.